Hey YouTube, what's up? My name's Josh, and I just got out of the Army after serving for almost 13 years. Right now, as of making this video, I believe it's October 5th, 2023, and I got out of the Army on the 1st of August, 2023. So just a little bit over 60 days. I planned on making a 90-day update because I have some schooling and some things like that are going to be happening in the next like 30 days. And I guess I thought at that point I'd have something to kind of brag about. Um, but I had the house to myself today, which is, extremely rare. It usually never happens. And I thought, hey, why not just throw it out there now, and maybe somebody will see it. Maybe it'll help somebody out. If not, it is what it is. So I'm just gonna hop right into it, right? These are my thoughts and opinions, right? I'm not gonna like bash the Army or talk about anything like negative on that side of the house, but there's a reason why I'm making this video, you know. And for me personally, I'd say probably about 5 years ago or so, um, I kind of wasn't having as much fun as I used to have when I was in the Army, and you know I thought, oh, hey, maybe a new unit, maybe a change of scenery, maybe that next rank, that next job position, maybe things will turn around. Let's just stick with it because I've already invested some time. And really, um, I was very scared about the prospect of exiting the Army because, you know, after I hit like that 5 year mark in the Army, I became a father, I was a husband, and I was institutionalized. I was very used to that paycheck hitting on the 1st and the 15th, and I was just very used to the way things work in the military. And so the prospect of getting out of the military and becoming one of the statistics, because they tell you all the time, people in the Army try to convince you that if you leave, you're going to be homeless, you're going to be unemployed, you're going to be a failure, that, oh, it's so hard out there. And in the opposite side of that coin, they constantly are feeding you this narrative that like less than 1% of the United States population, you know, serves in some capacity, whether it's the Army or the Navy, right? So like even if you're just like a regular Joe, like your infantry, cav, artillery, whatever, like some MOS that doesn't require any skills to enter, you know, you're fed these narratives that make you feel like you're a part of an elite community, right? Um, and so you put those two things together, and it creates a sense of like, just you just make me personally, anyways. It made me weary of exiting the Army, and I'm a guy that joined when I was a little bit later in life. I was 23 years old when I joined the Army, and I had a slew of different jobs before I came in. But in that period of time, my first like 5 years or so, I just got really used to it. So now, or at least, or then, you know, I was really scared about the idea of getting out because now it's not just me, it's my wife and my son and my daughter that are depending on me to be successful in whatever I do. So the breaking point finally came for me this year, and it's when I kind of had this thought process that I realized, hey, if less than 1% of the population serves in the Army, then that means that the overwhelming majority of people in the United States are figuring it out, right? And if unemployment is low, then that means that, of that 99%, like 90 some odd percent of people are employed. And I met some really what I would think would be unemployable people in the Army. So like I just kind of thought about it and flipped things around. I thought, well, you know what? I bet you know I bet I could do this. And staying in the Army for me was, like I said, I wasn't having fun anymore, and then I felt like I was selling a piece of my soul every day. Um, and I thought, wow, what a terrible example that I'm setting, for my children as a father. That's not how I want my children to live their lives. I want them to be bold, and I want them to take risks and go forward on and go down paths that excite them. Right? Like, we only have one life, so you should do the things that make you happy, or at least try to do the things that make you happy, so that you have less regrets. When you get old and you can't, and those opportunities pass you by. Um, so I say all that to say this: look, don't believe that line of, oh, you're going to be homeless, you're not going to be successful if you get out. That don't buy into that. Don't buy into that at all, because odds are you're going to be successful. My mind was absolutely split wide open when I did a little bit of research and I found out how many, benefits there are specifically geared towards veterans, whether it's education or training, like, in order to get you into the workforce, and not just into the workforce, but more than likely into the line of work that you want to do. Now, I mean, unless, you want to do something like underwater basket weaving, you're probably going to have a hard time. But, if you want to be like a truck driver, or you want to get into construction, um, you know, like whatever it is, like normal jobs, right? Um, there is more than likely either a federal or a state program or benefit that you can utilize, as long as you're honorably discharged, or like general discharge under honorable conditions, right? Like, I'm not saying after you watch this video, go turn into a shitbag and get kicked out of the army, like, so you can just live your best life or whatever. That's going to hinder you. That part is true. So I don't recommend, doing that, but I do recommend considering just these few things, right? Like, if you, or if you're married and you have a spouse, if you have like family that you can just use as a landing pad for a month or two, that's tremendous, right? Especially if it's in an area of the country that like you want to be in. That's what my wife and I did. She has family in different parts of Arizona, and we decided, hey, let's go to Arizona. Let's bring our kids around the village, so to speak. Like, let's let our children grow up next to their cousins and their grandmas and stuff like that. So it was a pretty easy decision as far as where to go. And since that support network was there, we just utilized it. And fortunately for me, I'm not going to dive into all my finances and whatnot, but I did have some money saved, and so that really helped out a lot. I would say, at a minimum, if you're in the army right now and you're like, man, I'm not sure, or whatever, or if you felt like me and you felt like you're selling your soul every single day, just stop. Like, also, because if you're a leader, you're taking the spot of some hungry new leader, right? Like, if you're not truly fulfilled, then just stop. Like, start going and making sure that all of your medical files are in a row. That's probably one of the biggest things for me, is that when I knew, hey, it's time to get out, I'm not having fun, we're gonna get out, we're gonna go to Arizona. I focused a tremendous amount of my attention in making sure that everything that I had wrong with me medically because of my Army service, I went ahead and I made sure I made that appointment, and I showed up, and I talked to the doctor, and I got that stuff documented, and good on me for doing that, because now I'm 100% PNT, and that alone, that compensation check alone, is going to afford me the ability to kind of dabble in different, occupations that I might find, um, you know, fulfilling. So that's great. And also, when you're 100% PNT, there are a few additional programs that are available to disabled veterans. And here's the thing: I would argue that anybody who serves, at least in the Army, can't speak for the other branches because I don't know, but Probably the same goes for them, but I would argue that if you've served in the Army for 3 or 4 years or more, odds are your knees are not the same shape as they used to be. Same with like your feet or your back, stuff like that. Like chances are pretty high that you're going to be eligible for some compensation as long as you go to the doctor and you get it documented. And then you just file that benefits delivered at discharge claim. That's what I did. I knew I was getting out. I made my mind up, and I compiled all my medical evidence. And then up until the day I got out of the Army, I was still submitting medical evidence to my benefits delivered at discharge claim. And I was out for 30 or 45 days. I think I was out for about 30 days, and I got my letter. And my letter said, "Hey, you know, this, all proved." I was really surprised and shocked about that because I figured I was going to be in for a 6 month battle of multiple claims, but I got really lucky, 100% P&T. But even if it was 50%, that would still net me a significant amount of compensation that would allow me breathing room. So I say this because I wish that I had watched a YouTube video of just a real guy saying, believe in yourself and that you can do this. You know, find out what drives you or what you think might drive you, right? And then use social media, use your family, use any means at your disposal to start making those connections, right? And do the research on, education benefits and things like that. If you can stay with family for a month or two, that's going to save you a lot of money. I mean, me personally, um, we could have afforded to go get like a small apartment somewhere, and just live by ourselves. But that seemed like a burden, unnecessary burden. So as long as you have some money in the savings, I'd say make sure you've got at least 3 months minimum, if not more, of like what you really need to cover the bills. Ideally, if you can get out and you don't have any debt, that's going to make things tremendously easier. But even so, you're going to get paid for that last PCS move, right? Because if you do a Diddy, you're going to make money. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, and I don't really like putting my finances out there, but um, I moved from Fort Polk, well, now it's Fort Johnson, Louisiana, to Phoenix, Arizona. I did a full Diddy move, and I think I moved. It was quite a bit of weight. I think it was close to 10,000 pounds, in a U-Haul and whatever else. And I'm pretty sure I got, well, I know that I got over $10,000. I'm not going to put an exact number on it, but I know that I got, a fair bit amount over $10,000. And so, like, hey, that just bought me, I don't know, 3 more months of me sitting back, relaxing, and making the decisions that I want to, to go in the directions that I want to move forward in, whether that's, school or trade school or college or whatever the case may be, or utilizing a program, which I'm actually in the process of utilizing a program right now. Um, in Arizona, it's called the state of Arizona has a grant. It's called the WIAO grant. It's through Arizona Job Connection, and they provide you funding for training. And originally, I thought, okay, as soon as I get to Arizona, I'm going to start calling up these trucking schools. I'm going to use my GI Bill, right? No big deal. Boom. I'll have my CDL in a month, and I'll be earning. I'll find like a local job or whatever. Turns out, one of these schools was like, hey, man, save your money, save your GI Bill for something else, because you can just go ask, Arizona Job Connection, do the paperwork with them, and they'll get you the grant, and you can come here, and everything is paid for. Obviously, the one negative to that is that I'm not going to collect BAH, but like I said, I'm in a position right now where I have money saved, and my expenses are extremely low, so I don't need to collect that BAH. And now my compensation checks have started rolling in too, so that really offsets a lot of my costs. You know, there's no reason why the majority of soldiers in the army or air force or whatever like should stay if they're not happy. Like I'm not saying that it's bad to be in the military. It's great. You know, it's afforded me a lot of opportunities, and I definitely wouldn't be who I am or where I am right now, or where I'm about to go in the next 90 days, and maybe I don't know what's going to happen a year from now. I mean, the sky's the limit, really. But none of that would be afforded to me if it wasn't for my army service. This My message is to those people that were like me. You're like, well, I guess I'm going to reenlist because I don't have a plan, and because I'm scared to get out because I have, a family. That was me like the last 2 or 3 times I reenlisted. I was scared to let my family down, and I had stopped having fun. That doesn't necessarily make you a good soldier. Like in that scenario, you should probably step aside and let somebody who's motivated, take that position and carry that torch forward. Well, one thing's certain: everybody that's in the military is going to exit at one point. So it doesn't matter if you make it to 3 years or 4 years or 5 years or whatever. And especially now that they've done away with the retirement, the old school retirement that the Army used to have, it's not really going to matter anymore, if you do 20 years or not, because a lot of these young guys and gals that come into the Army, they're not properly informed about, investing in the TSP to get their match. So, if they're not investing and they don't invest for 20 years, at the end of their contract, they're not going to have a retirement. They're going to be counting on that VA compensation check, right? So, and the other reality is that the odds are that our generation of people, or the people, that have been born after me, I was born in 1987, for example, the odds are that we're not going to have any Social Security, and the economy has just been going to hell for like the last 10, 15 years. So I can only imagine how bad it's going to be 10 or 15 years from now. So I say that because to say that the reality is we're probably never going to retire. My generation and every generation after me, we're probably going to be working into our grave. Yeah, it sucks, but I mean, you know it only sucks if you're doing something that you don't want to do. So stop doing the things that you don't want to do. Believe in yourself, do a little bit of research, save some money so you can pay your bills for at least 3 months, right? And look into all those education benefits that you're going to have, and you'll be out here making good money. Like it'll shockingly fast. You'll be making good money um, as long as you have the willingness to go fill out papers and put your face in front of people that are hiring. Um, and also the other big thing is the benefits delivered at discharge, right? If you're in the Army right now and you don't have any chance of getting out like very soon, that's not a bad thing. Just bide your time, stick your time in, but make sure you go get your medical stuff documented. It's so huge. I heard it so many times, and I never took it seriously. I was the guy that was always like rubbing dirt in it, and I would be tough, right? And I was always trying to be tough, and I rarely went to sick call. Fortunately, I went to sick call enough, and I made enough appointments like towards the end of my career, where I was able to finally get a lot of my stuff diagnosed. And um, if I was able to go over 100%, I would actually be 240% disabled. That doesn't mean I can't still work. I can still work. It's just like I'm not going to be running anywhere. I'm not going to be like picking up 100-pound things and throwing them over my shoulder, all day long. But hey, I can drive a truck, and I can do a lot of other different things. I can, and not like broken, but I'm not the 23-year-old man I was when I joined. Yeah, I know I'm kind of rambling, but it bothered me. It's been on my mind for like the last month or so. Man, YouTube University, right? YouTube University is what we all do, and it's just there's not a lot of people out there talking about it. Now, I'm not entirely, um, oblivious to the fact that I moved to like the second or third largest city in America. And so, yeah, of course, like a really big city is going to have a sprawling economy, right? And lots of services available to you. That's fine, right? Like some of you guys don't have that. Got it. Understand. But that doesn't mean that, you know, you can't get out. It doesn't mean that some services aren't available to you. Like I said, the biggest thing is just saving some money, having the drive, and doing the research. Those three things have made my transition so smooth, so much smoother than I thought it was going to be. I was honestly, I stressed myself out more than the process of actually going through that transition. So yeah, don't be like me. I wish I would have got out 5 years ago because I've been out for the last like 60 days and the opportunities are just stacking up. And I'm really excited for the things that are coming next. Next month I go and I get my Class A CDL. And after that, I've already got a job lined up working with my brother, driving tractors and bulldozers and construction stuff. Like that's super fun. And then my brother and I are planning on going halves on a trailer and getting into the hot shot trucking industry, at least giving it a try because he has his Class A endorsement, and hot shot trucking. Maybe you should look into that. It's something that you can do if you've got one of those big diesel trucks. So hopefully that's a successful endeavor because that has the potential to turn into a business that eventually would have the potential to maybe run itself, or at least we could potentially hire people on to run the business and we could just sit back and collect you know the revenue from that. um, and that's not all. Like there's a scholarship uh, in Gilbert, which is right near where Phoenix is. It's actually connected. You don't even know where Gilbert and Phoenix end and begin. It's all just one big metropolis. But there's a scholarship to help you know uh, veterans get their private pilot's license, which is the bar to entry to be able to use your GI Bill to get your commercial license. And that's another avenue that I fully intend on taking advantage of. At least, hopefully, I'm going to try and get approved for the scholarship. And if I don't, then I'll just start doing private pilot license lessons as I can afford them, like on the weekends or whatever, until I get enough hours to actually obtain it myself. Because I think crop dusting would be super fun, um, wildly dangerous, but it still looks super fun, and I want to take a swing at that as well. And you know, and if I get tired, like I don't have to work. I'll collect almost $4,000 a month every month on the first, just for you know not dying, for living and breathing. So yeah, go to the doctor, get your medical stuff taken care of, start making a plan. Don't believe anybody when they tell you that you're not going to be shit if you get out of the military, because everybody has to get out of the military one day, sooner or later. So you better start preparing for it now, right? And then, yeah, don't sleep on your benefits. File your benefits delivered at discharge claim at least 6 months before you start the transition process. That way, if it's 30%, whatever it is, if there's any level of compensation that's owed to you, you can start collecting it immediately. Um, that's all I wanted to say. I know this is probably a lot longer than it needed to be, but I didn't write down a script. I wanted this to be honest. And, if this gets any views and if anybody has any questions, then shoot them on over to me. Um, I'm working on. I'm trying to get better about videoing more stuff and uploading them to YouTube because you know I I want my loved ones to be able to like look at my page whenever I'm dead and gone, and maybe they'll get some condolence or some closure by being able to see me do what I do. I've got videos that I need to upload, and they're just random. But if you're in the Army and you see this video or the military at all, and it helped you out, or at least gave you the idea to or helped you build your courage to make that transition, then hey, give me a thumbs up or shoot me a comment. Let me know. Like, don't believe all the things that you say that they tell you, because a lot of that stuff is just isn't true. All right. So thanks so much if you made it this far. Good luck to you.